Hello, you've made it through 40 other games. You've made it through my rambling mess of trying to chat through those games. As you can see, I struggle with what is called the English, and you are here at my top 10 games. I'm going to be honest, you'll probably disagree with me. But as I said at the start, I have not played the amount of games that a lot of people have, and this is more about games that I would play in a heartbeat. So this top 10 games, if you say to me, I want to play this game, I'm going to be there, I'm going to play it with you. Interestingly, let me see, two of these games I don't even own. Let's start the list. Number 10 is Happy Pigs. Now, what I love about Happy Pigs is the clarity in how it plays. The rules and the turn order of a round are very, very clear and easy, so you can get into a game up and running quite quickly. And in Happy Pigs, it is essentially an economic game. You're a pig farmer for a year and you're trying to turn around as much bacon. Write that one down, kids. I'll wait. You're trying to turn as much money as you can in that year. And the way you do that is by breeding pigs, by growing pigs, and by selling pigs at certain times of the year when they're worth more. And it can be played in a couple of ways. Everyone has 4 action tiles: feeding, mating, selling or buying. And you can play those face up, so everyone can see what you're playing, or you can play those more tactically. You can play them face down, which is the less tactical way, or you can play them face up one at a time. And I tend to play them the more tactical way, because the other part of that is each of those actions per round will be signed a certain amount of uses. So feeding might have 10 uses one round, mating might have 6, and basically however many players play that action for that turn have to share those uses. So you might play feeding and no one else does, you get all 10 to yourself. Any you don't use, you get reimbursement for. But if 3 other players play feeding, then you're going to get 3 each. So it's a very clever system of being able to do what you need to do and choosing the one which you think other people aren't going to, but also planning ahead so that it looks like the obvious move for you is something and people are trying to stop you doing that or share that with you, but actually you're going to do something else because you've thrown a curveball out. And it's just a very satisfying game to see your pig farm grow in this year and then diminish as you try and sell it all. I really, really like Happy Pigs. I think it's neat, I think it's clean. It has a cutesy graphic style which maybe hasn't done it any favours, but I think there's a gamer's game in there. So my number 10 is Happy Pigs. My number 9 is Secret Hitler. The game which out-resistance is the resistance. Now, Secret Hitler is a hidden role social deduction game about the politics of being a fascist or a liberal, and each round a chancellor and prime minister will be choosing policies, and the prime minister will pick up 3 and then they'll discard 1 and then they'll pass them to the chancellor, and the chancellor will choose one of those remaining ones, and the only choices are fascist or liberal. So you could get royally stitched up by the Prime Minister, or you can lie and say that they gave you all the same ones, and the fascists are trying to pass a certain amount of fascist policies, the liberals are trying to assassinate Hitler or pass the liberal policies, and it just works really well on top of having some of the nicest components I've seen in a deduction game. Now, it won't replace the Resistance for me. I love the Resistance, even though it didn't make the top 50. And that is mainly the reason I will keep hold of the Resistance, is because this theme isn't going to be for everyone. Now, I don't think it revels in Hitler, I don't think it anything like that, but I can see why people might not want to play it. But it is a fantastic hidden role social deduction game that really gets you thinking and questioning people at the table. It just works fantastically well and scales well as well. That is Secret Hitler number 9. Number 8 is the sort of the last deck building game, but not really on the list, and that is Paperback. Paperback is a deck building game that my mum loves, so that's why it's number 8. Need we say any more? Paperback is a deck building game where you're using your cards to build words, which get you money, which then let you buy better letters to build better words, which get you money, and it's more money. And it's got you a couple of nice systems where you have a common letter that you can share between all your words. You also can't neglect that you need to buy victory point cards, which act as wild cards, but then they don't give you any money to buy new letters or victory point cards. It just, in some ways, it's a very safe deck builder within the systems that it employs, but it just works really well. Plus, there's loads in the box of different ways of playing it, of little extra rules to throw in. Paperback is a solid deck building game. Number 7 is a new game this year called Adrenaline. It's been, people argue about whether it's a first or third person shooter. I don't care. It's a game where you run around a futuristic map shooting other players and playing area control on their damage track, because the player who scores the most points when they eventually die is the player who did them the most damage. Added to this, you get bonuses for doing first hits. If you kill them, you go onto a track which is tracked for the end of the game. There's points for double kills. There's so many weapons, and all this without dice or randomness. The only real randomness is what weapons come out, but all of the weapons are useful in their own way. So yeah, it just works really well. Better at the higher player counts, definitely. But Adrenaline, I love it. The last game I played of it, I came joint first and lost on a tiebreaker, even though I didn't kill anyone, because I just spent the whole game spreading damage around, just running around like just having my kills stolen all the time, really. But because I'd spread my damage around and make sure I was shooting absolutely everyone and doing a lot of damage to them when I did, I beat everyone bar one player and only lost on a tiebreaker, which was how many kills you'd done. So perhaps not a great strategy. Number 7, Adrenaline. Number 6 is one of the games I don't own, Automania. Automania I played at the UK Game Expo, loved it there. It's a worker placement game. My friend picked it up, we enjoyed playing it. You get a car, you're all car companies using your workers to build cars, and you get cars out from your very first turn and start selling them to the markets. You can look ahead and kind of do some good but solid guesswork on what is going to affect the markets, so what trends are going to come in, so you can make your car more eco-friendly because you can see that trend's coming in. But then it might not, and it might only come in the European market, but you might really want to sell to the American market, and making it sound complex. And there is a lot of moving parts. Turn order can be affected. You can choose when to pass and when to take money. But actually it all makes sense when you've got the board in front of you, and it plays out really well over 4 rounds essentially. And you just feel like you're getting to do stuff straight away. It's a very good worker placement game, Automania. Number 5 is the other game on my top 10 that I don't actually own, and that is Mission Red Planet. I just love the theming, I love the cards that are spaceships that you're sending up to Mars, I love the fight for control of the territories of Mars, I love the role selection at the start of the game, which is going to affect what you can do, sort of a la Citadels. It's just a great package, and I wish I owned it more so I could play it more, hence its position at number 5 on my top 10. Number 4 is another economic game, so that's the second in my top 10 if you count Happy Pigs, and that is Stockpile. Particularly now with the continuing corruption expansion, particularly the dice in the expansion, which really change how much the stock value can fluctuate, which is awesome fun. Stockpile is an economic game where you're trying to get stocks in companies that are more valuable, but there's also some bidding in it, and it just, again, I say this about a lot of my top 10, but you'll notice that games on my top 10 just work. They have a clear progression through them. It's clear what you need to do. It's clear what you should, not how you should take your turns, but the what actions you can perform on your turns. And Stockpile has just gone down really well. A game about stocks sounds like it should be boring, but this just isn't boring. And You can get some stocks at double in value. You can flip over the board and have a more less predictable stocks. There's so much in the box you can add to it. I haven't even played with all the stuff in the expansion yet. You can have roles for each person which give them special powers. Stockpile is a great game and one that will be on my top 10 list, I imagine, for a long time. Number 3 is 51st State. 51st State is a kind of tableau engine building game where you are trying to get resources out of the cards that you've bought to get more resources to get victory points. At the same time, other players can mess with you by raising your buildings that you've bought, but actually that you might have wanted them to do that anyway. And at the end of the round, all your resources that you haven't used get discarded, apart from 1 or 2 different things. It's just a fantastic game. It's the one memorable game I played of this was when, because you take one action at a time, so the game goes at a fair old clip, because you're not waiting for someone to take all their actions all in one go and exhaust everything. They have to prioritise which things they're going to do first. So because of that, I got to the end round of one game and I just built such an efficient engine that I was just getting victory points one at a time until I surpassed everyone else on the scoring board, and all they could do was watch me take my one turn at a time, because they'd all passed by this point. They're taking one turn at a time, I'll do this and then I'll raise that, which gives me a victory point for redeveloping it, and then that gets me more resources which I use to buy these victory points. And they could all just see my slow but steady ascent up the scoreboard till I took first place. And it was just so satisfying. But it's a game that I have a lot of fun playing, even when I don't win. A lot of fun manipulating the scoreboards, not the scoreboards, manipulating my tableau, trying to build up better production sites so that I can use my actions in the most efficient way, but not tip my hand too early. I really, really like 51st State. Number 2 is the game I was talking about that has deck building in it, and that is Tyrants of the Underdark. Deck building and area control. You are using your decks to control areas of the Underdark, and if you control certain areas you're going to start accruing victory points, but someone can come in and take that off you. And it's all about influence on the map. You can only influence spaces that are one away from you unless you start using your spies. But to use your spies, you've got to have a card that allows you to do so, or build up enough influence to allow you to do so. So you have to craft your deck in such a way that matches the way you want to play, but then be flexible enough to react to other people. I think this is a fantastic game, despite issues with components, not sending out enough components in some bags, sending out too many in others. The card quality isn't that great. But the other thing about it is you get 4 decks and you play with 2 each game, and they're just releasing an expansion soon which will bring more decks into it. So there's a lot of variability there. Tyrants in the Underdark really surprised me and my game group, to be fair, with how much we've enjoyed it. And so we come to number 1, a game that I haven't reviewed yet because I feel I'm barely scratching the surface of it. I'm going to take a drink just to prepare myself to tell you about it. My number 1 game is Kemet. Kemet is a dudes on the map, area control, go and fight people with huge Egyptian mythological creatures game, and I love it. I love that it's quick. I love that you're encouraged to attack other players. I love that the map is cleverly made so people are never that far away from you. I love the temporary victory points that you get for holding an area, and that when you get close to 8, which is what you're needed to win the game, we can all see that, so we're going to come in and start taking those areas off you. I love the power tile system where you're upgrading your army, and people again see you do that. They see you get the giant scorpion, and that means you're going to start tearing around the map to take as much space as you can. So instantly everyone else starts battling for the snake, because that negates any other mythical creature's powers. It works, and it works really well. I love Kemet, and I would always play Kemet. There we have it, my top 10. At the end of my top 50, first time I've done this. I'm sure I can do it better. I'm sure you disagree with me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching Board Deck and Dice. This has been our first year. We started, I think, in April. Really enjoying doing this, and hopefully some of you are too. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Next year? Next time.